quick audio check. How is the audio in the back of the room? Check, check. Great, thank you. Good. Thank you all for joining. My name is Pat Tobin. I'm the General Manager of Economic Development and Culture for the City of Toronto. Thank you very much for joining us for the launch of Sidewalks and Skylines, an action plan for Toronto's economy. Before we begin, I would like to recognize the land on which we are gathered today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Chippewa, the Wendat peoples. Today, Toronto is home to a vibrant urban Indigenous community numbering some 100,000 strong, drawn from First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. Also wish to acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa bands. The City of Toronto also wishes to acknowledge that we are all treaty peoples, including those like myself who came here as settlers, either as migrants in this generation or generations past. And those of us who came here involuntarily, particularly those brought to these lands as a result of the transatlantic slave trade, we pay tribute to those ancestors of African origin and descent. So on behalf of the City of Toronto, welcome to the launch of our new economic development plan, Sidewalks to Skylines, an action plan for Toronto's economy. We're here today at the beautiful Schwartz-Reisman Innovation Campus at the University of Toronto. Through the generous donation provided by the Schwartz-Reisman family, you have 750,000 square feet dedicated to the innovation ecosystem in Toronto with a focus on artificial intelligence and life sciences. It is noteworthy that we are here today too, as last week, the father of artificial intelligence, Dr. Geoffrey Hinton, received the Nobel Prize for Physics and continues to influence this ecosystem and the strengths that attract so much investment and talent to this city. The building that you're in is a home for, again, AI application to life sciences and will support a large number of startups that are student-led and faculty-driven, further cementing the U of T's position as a global center of excellence in AI and innovation. It's suitable that we're here today too, because entrepreneurs, dreamers, and hard workers are core to this economic development plan, and this is a great place, this campus and the views of the surrounding city, to unveil this strategy. It is also appropriate that we're here at the University of Toronto because this action plan is a call to action of the City of Toronto's many partners to address both the economic challenges that confront it, as well as leverage the many strengths of our economy in order to chart a path for prosperous economic growth for the next decade. The plan we're unveiling today is a result of a year-long consultation touching all corners of the city, thousands of residents, businesses, and labor members, and we're very proud to be able to present it to you today. It's now my great pleasure to call on the Mayor of Toronto, Mayor Olivia Chow, to offer remarks.
Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here to introduce Sidewalks to Skyline, a new vision for Toronto's economy. A plan focused on our collective vision of a city that's more prosperous, affordable, and sustainable. A great place to do business where everyone belongs. Delivering on the action in Sidewalks to Skyline will keep Toronto's engine firing on all cylinders and put the city on a path to continue its growth. And we plan to double our GDP in 25 years. That's ambitious. Okay? This is a plan that will help strengthen our main streets and support our small business owners. And I am very pleased to see the TABIA, which is the organization that bring together all the business improvement plan team all across the city. And Gerard Carew is here with us. Now, it will help grow our economy and attract the next generation of global investment from companies like Unilever, who recently chose Toronto as its new AI hub. We're proud of that. This plan sets out a vision for a more prosperous, affordable, and growing Toronto, a place where everyone can benefit from our economy. I would like to acknowledge my fellow speakers today, Councillor Sherry Carroll and Sabine Hergy, the co-chairs of the Economic Advisory Panel. This is their work. I would also like to thank the members of the panel whose insights and hard work were critical in this plan's development. We are at a pivotal time, a pivotal moment of our city. Toronto is Canada's economic engine. We make up of 20% of the national economy and 53% of the provincial economy. We are a global beacon of talent and a leading hub of commerce, creativity, innovation, and research across North America. A strong economy in our city is not just good for Toronto, but essential to the economic prosperity of Ontario and Canada. A strong economy is a team effort, and so was the creation of this plan. It represents the voices and aspirations of more than 1,000 businesses, stakeholders, and community organizations. Think about it, 1,000 people, organizations also. And so, this shared vision relies on partnerships at every level between government, industry, and community to make it happen. It also proposed bold and ambitious targets to make sure the plan doesn't just die on the page, and that, or a shelf, that, or a cloud, and that it drives success year after year because of these targets. To continue to be globally competitive, we must also tackle the challenges of some of our big barriers. We must make our city more affordable. We must build more affordable homes. Why? Because if their homes are affordable, they don't have to pay as much rent or the mortgage, which means they would have money left over to go eat and shop locally. That will create a stronger small businesses, better Main Street. Because without that, it's difficult to grow the middle class. So for economy that have affordable housing, you can see the rise of the middle class because of it. And because of that, they could live closer to where they work. Because we are hearing that people are moving out of the city because they can't work. They can't live near where they work, and guess what? Because they have to take a car or transit, and that adds to the congestions. So we have to tackle congestion. One of the ways is, of course, making housing a bit more affordable so you don't have to live so far away from your work. Yes, we need to tackle that and invest in transit together. I know we can. Together we can secure a prosperous future for our city, for its young people. We can be a global economic leader, attracting some of the world's largest employers here because they see the potential in this place where everyone belongs, where everyone can benefit from our hard work. And here I want to acknowledge Global Toronto presence here, and because they do very good work. We will know when we get there by the thriving small businesses in our neighborhoods, the rise of Toronto up the global ranking of our key high-value sectors, and the expansion of good jobs in all parts of this city. I invite everyone to join us in delivering on this action plan and build an even stronger, more inclusive economy for current and future generations in Toronto. I now invite Councillor Sherry Carroll, the co-chair of the Economic Advisory Panel, to share her remarks. Councillor Carroll.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here today with Mayor Chow and with my advisory panel co-chairs, Sabine Hergy a very active co-chair, I have to say. We're launching the action plan for Toronto's economy today. And it's a big topic, the economy, a big topic. But it boils down to three main things, and I think they will make it clear that every Torontonian should be able to see themselves and their lives and their livelihoods in this plan. It boils down to this: strong main streets, quality jobs, and global competitiveness. That's really what this is all about. And wherever you are on the employment chain, wherever you are in your life, in and around Toronto, should be able to see yourself in those big themes. We know how vital Toronto's economic prosperity is, not just for Toronto, to the whole nation. We know that. The entire Canadian economy is counting on us. So our strengths are clear, and we have to start with those. We have vibrant neighborhoods. We have a rich cultural diversity and world-class institutions, standing in one right now. These make us a prime destination for global talent. We're set for a bright future, especially with thriving sectors that are really showing great gains recently in technology and life sciences and financial and professional services. They're all fueled by innovation and talent here in our city. But Toronto is also facing significant challenges. And it's not just us speaking out to the private sector about that. They spoke to us. They said, before you can tackle these big themes in the economy, you gotta get back to basics. You gotta look at some of those local challenges. So we looked at global disruptions that have magnified existing issues here in the city around underemployment, affordability, aging infrastructure, and traffic congestion. Those are the themes that are coming at us and that we know have to be a part of this initiative. Remote work has reshaped urban dynamics, there's no question, and it's impacted the real estate market. As budget chief in my other role and the mayor's economic development and culture champion, I have to be aware, acutely aware, of how our financial position affects our ability to address those big challenges. That's why this is so important. Fiscal pressures we face, we can't navigate them alone. That's why it's crucial to leverage our strengths here in the city, leverage those vibrant neighborhoods, leverage all of those thriving sectors and the talent that exists today, while deepening our relationships with other levels of government to access the resources necessary to operate in a global economy effectively for ourselves and for the nation. These realities demand a comprehensive economic strategy that balances our strengths for those challenges ahead. And it's a while since we renewed one. This 10-year plan is the first of its kind in quite some time. It's an action plan for Toronto's economy that will direct our efforts to build strong and vibrant main streets. Remember, strong main streets. We got to create quality local jobs, jobs that bring living wages and the ability to house oneself. And we have to increase our global competitiveness to attract the top talent and investment from every corner of the globe. We know we're competing on that world stage, and we're able to compete with this plan. Over the next 10 years, we've outlined 28 steps. Under those three big themes are 28 very important steps that with clear metrics, we'll be able to measure them throughout the 10 years. Are we making progress to generate that prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable economy that we all dream of? It includes annual updates and a 5-year review, keeping us adaptable, because we don't know 5 years from now if we need to refresh a little, we need to add to the plan. We'll be looking at that constantly and keeping it current with council's work. The bold plan is the result of collaboration. We know we're on the right track because we actually spoke to over 1,000 residents, businesses, and community organizations. This anchored the Economic Advisory Panel. It was sort of CEO and high-level people, but that 1,000-strong consultation confirmed the input that we were getting from the leaders across the city. So after over a year of deliberations, the panel, taking all that we had discussed over the year and taking into account the consultations thus far, addressed our city staff with a report called The Next Toronto, a report that provides their clear and concise advice on addressing those critical challenges that face Toronto's economy from their perspective. And while using our strengths to chart a path to the future growth, we know we can go back to that Next Toronto report because it will help us know if we're on track and we're reflecting all those people that we wanted to be a part and have authorship in this plan. I want to thank that economic advisory panel. Sabine's going to tell you a little bit more about it. Some of them are here today and would be willing to answer questions afterwards. But I want to thank them for their incredible work. It was a little longer than expected because as we tackled this at the beginning of the political term, we began to realize how enormous this task was. And so they came on board, really starting by understanding the city's position today, its fiscal position. And really, for some, while they are leaders of industry, leaders of some of our most important sectors, hadn't really realized the municipal piece in all of that because they deal with everything right up to federal ministerial levels to do their work. But really understanding Toronto's position in all of that meant that their advice became advice that I think council is going to feel really heard and seen by those very economic engines that we're always courting with. Now it feels like collaboration. I want to thank that panel, many of whom are here, and you can meet them. The panel's insights really did shape this plan, and so I hope you will have a chance to chat with them. But I want to give you just a couple of examples. They identified, our panel of industry and sector leaders identified congestion right off the bat. So we didn't wait. That congestion management plan, as you know, was already out there. Coordinating capital. Well, we've seen challenges in that. The work to really focus it in the downtown core during the Gardner work, getting that work 24/7. Part of that comes from the panel saying, this can't wait till the day we introduce our shiny plan. Businesses need you to do something about that right now. They were very effective. They highlighted the challenges that the mayor highlighted: homelessness, mental illness and addiction challenges on the street, safety on the transit system. And so we knew that for the sake of businesses, large and small, we needed to start to address that right away. And so the length and breadth of our housing strategy, our sheltering strategy, the work we're doing on encampments really was informed by the economic advisory panel as much as by local residents calling us from their homes. The panel also warned us about that slow return of workers to the city core. They reminded us that we do need to accept that work is changing, but what does that mean? How then do we use the downtown core? And so the instructions that are in this plan for our planning department to begin to look at other commercial uses, to broaden what business can do in the downtown core, is already underway through our chief planner's office. And so there'll be a timeliness to working on that. I'm incredibly grateful for all of the stakeholders outside of the advisory panel as well, and to Patrick Tobin, who led his team all over this city, touching down in various post-secondary institutions to talk to people in area-specific places, so that it's not just about the downtown core, it's not just about the largest sectors, it's about everyone. And what we heard out there was advice that, again, council is already acting on. Protect these employment lands. Help us with main streets that are a little off the beaten track. Make sure that that work isn't waiting till year whatever of a plan. It's work you need to start right now, and it has already begun. So moving forward, that collaboration will be key. We hope it continues between the public and private sectors, levels of government. Our advisory panel have offered already, many of them, to help us make sure that other orders of government are seeing this plan, hearing what needs to be done, and helping us build that sustainable financial future with their help so that it really can cause us to be able to get to that double the GDP in those short time frame that the mayor mentioned. Together, we know we can tackle the challenges and we can seize the opportunities that they bring. I'm proud to support this work. I want to see this plan not just get off the ground, but I want to see it produce year after year after year throughout the 10 years. And so we're all going to work together to make sure that happens. And now I only have to, my chore is to introduce my co-chair. And I want to take this opportunity to give a special thank you to Zabine Hergy. You know, sometimes when you set up these panels, and we often say, well, we'll have a political chair and we'll have a chair from out there in the field. And it can take on a ceremonial flavor if we're not careful, if we keep too inside our council chamber heads. But in fact, what we had was a very active co-chair in Zabine through all of her work through her career in Deloitte, her place at board tables. She brought to us not only perspective, but she also reflected, if we did get a little too inside ball, she brought to us feedback that you sometimes hear after the work from the rest of the advisory panel. So we really feel like with Zabine at the chair, we were able to make sure that we really were staying on track and remembering that an advisory panel's advice must be taken into account and followed. So I want to thank you for that and ask you to come to the podium. Thanks, Zabine.
Good morning, and thank you, Councillor Carroll, for that very kind introduction. Too bad my mother isn't here to hear that. And thank you for welcoming me to partner with you as an active partner, because I think that's really the new way of collaboration and co-creation ahead of us. Thank you, Mayor Chow, for the opportunity to co-chair the Economic Advisory Panel and to be a city builder. Toronto is a city I'm very proud to call my home. Over the last year, 26 accomplished people spanning business, labor, academia, and civil society institutions came together to discuss how to strengthen Toronto's economy over the next decade and build inclusive growth and prosperity. And I'm really gratified by the impact we've had in advocating for action from the city on a variety of issues and in contributing to the ambitious plan you have before you now, Sidewalks and Skylines, an action plan for Toronto's economy. A must-read for fellow Torontonians, because each and every one of us can play a part in bringing this to life. Our work, along with the considerable research and public consultation undertaken by the very committed team under Pat Tobin at the city, has resulted in a plan that addresses with urgency those immediate threats to Toronto's global position and prosperity, like congestion, and importantly, charts a bold path forward to unlock Toronto's full potential by maximizing our many strengths as a national and global economic powerhouse. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the members of the panel that are in the room. I know I may miss someone, but hoping to call you all. Please put your hand up as I call you out. John Schell, Renee Gomes, Karen Chappelle, Stephen Lund, Andrew Weir, David Jarofsky, and Nation Chong. Thank you for joining us this morning as well. Following my career in banking and human resources, before I retired from RBC, I was the Chief Human Resources Officer for 10 years. And now in what I call my purposeful third act, where I'm advising leaders in business, government, academia, and civic organizations on leadership, talent, equity and inclusion, and a skills-based economy, I am so delighted to see tangible actions in this plan to ensure that Toronto continues to be a leader in talent and champions technology and innovation. This is essential in order to unlock the full potential of the people in our region and to attract and retain the best talent from around the world. And we must bring a new dedicated focus to supporting those key sectors of strength in the local economy that can generate quality jobs and wealth. Among the other issues that our panel advocated for that are clearly reflected in the action plan are support to Toronto's innovation economy, to the city core and our main streets, and an emphasis on the city's role in setting the best conditions for economic growth, including tax competitiveness, targeted incentives, smart labor market development, and a focus on the fundamentals of a prosperous, livable city in getting the basics right. The cross-sectoral membership of this panel, for me, is really illustrative of the type of engagement and partnership we will need across governments, business, educational institutions, not-for-profits, and members of civil society to drive this plan forward. Big issues require us to take collaboration and co-creation to an elevated level. I've seen the commitment of the Mayor and Councillor Carroll in setting Toronto on a responsible fiscal path, while also pushing the panel and staff to set an ambitious agenda for future growth and prosperity. Given the nature of the challenges and the stakes involved in achieving inclusive prosperity for our children, for our grandchildren, it's essential to work together to support this plan for sustainable economic growth in Toronto. Now, I see today not as an end to a process, but a beginning of one, and I'm here to contribute in any way that I can. Will you join us in leading us to the next Toronto? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zabine. I'd like to call all members of the podium party, Councillor Shelley Carroll, Mayor Olivia Chow, to join. For the media, we'll do a Q&A, and that'll be followed by a photo op out on the balcony. We'll need to wrap at about 10:40, so we'll take about 8 minutes or so of questions, and then we'll head out there at about 10:36 for a hard stop at 10:40. But any questions for Councillor Carroll, the Mayor? Zabine Herges, co-chair of the panel.
Mayor, I just want to ask about one of the things in the report. It says the limitations is the financial framework that the city has to deal with when it comes to getting money from the province. Can you give us an indication of where the New Deal 2.0 is? Are you expecting to hear some sort of deal reached by November of this year like we did last year?
Yes, there are in the plan, those of you that are interested, is page 31. I'm glad you read it. A good thing. It's action number 1, yes. Thank you, yeah, page 33. Long-term financial agreement in place by 2030. I hope I can do it sooner. The New Deal with the provincial government is ongoing right now. There is staff discussion, and the terms of reference and all of that is being put together, and the framework. And you will hear a lot more details in 2025. The part 1 of the New Deal, the funding are for 3 years, so it would, some of the fundings would expire in 2026. So the New Deal part 2 needs to come in before those expiration of the funding. Whether it is transportation, on housing, all those operating dollars is a 3-year package, other than the uploading, that's forever, hopefully. And so we will have to conclude the New Deal Part 2 before the expiration of the 2026 funding.
Can I just follow up? Yesterday, obviously congestion is a big part about this. Yesterday, in response to the province's announcement, you seemed to take a bit of a shot at the province's ability to get transit projects complete. We know that there's been a bit of a shake-up at Metrolinx. Do you think that that goes far enough? And then does that give you any more confidence that they'll get it done?
It's not up to me to comment on the inner workings of Metrolinx and the the structure as who does what in Metrolinx, but it's good indication there's some shake up, but really it's up to the Minister of Transportation and the CEO of Metrolinx.
Next question.
Can you just, high level, why should people in Toronto who are struggling with congestion and all the problems that this city have, pay any attention to this? This is a lot more promises of hope to have money.
That's not the only part.
Just tell
I
people
think
what.
the magic of this is a collaborative effort. The fact that the BIA representative, which means the business improvement area, think about it, there are hundreds of small businesses that are actively participating to improve their local neighborhood. And the city provide 50% of the funding, and they too put 50%. And you look at some of our Main Street, it's extremely, extremely successful. And think of all the economic vitality that was generated through some of the Taste of Little Italy, for example. Think of the College Street businesses that gained so much in those 3 days. And they're organized by the College Street BIA. And what this Sidewalks to Skyline is a nod to those businesses that are putting their effort in, small businesses, because they create majority of the jobs in the city, actually in Canada. Small businesses drive the economy and drive jobs creation. And we are saying that without you participating, we can't have a good, we can't double our GDP in 25 years. So it's an acknowledgement, let's work together. Number one, that's important. Because a lot of small business, think of who starts small business, a lot of them are new immigrants. They're new into their neighborhoods and they are full of hope. They may not have much money when they first start, but they work very hard and they just need a bit of boost from the city to make their business even more successful. So those that are out there saying, yeah, you know, things are not working as well, work with us, because we have the infrastructure, we have the know-hows to make the economy strive for everyone. That's why it's called inclusive economy. We can't do it by ourselves.
Next question.
Mayor Chow, can I ask you quickly about Parkside Drive? Hyper-local question here. It's been a problem for a number of years. There's a plan to change it coming to Infrastructure Committee next week. I'm wondering if you support that plan and if you think the province's stance on bike lanes is going to impede progress there on what's been a pretty dangerous street.
Yes, there have been death on the street. It's a very well-used street. And there's, because of the way it curves and because of graffiti, there's high speed on it. So there is a plan and that asks for some agreement in principle. I'll leave it for the members of the committee to make a decision, and I respect the will of the local councillor also, so we'll see what comes out of it. But in terms of bike lanes, tonight there is a big meeting in Kingsway, organized by the local councillor, Deputy Mayor Osman Malik, and I do not support limiting city powers, and it's always better when we work together, and we can always improve things. So let us also remember, all mode of transportation is important, and we need to make it safe so we don't have deaths, because we are committed to Vision Zero. So let's work together.
Why do you think the province is wading into bike lanes, which some might consider a municipal power?
It is a municipal file, and I'll leave the Premier to answer that question.
Last question. Okay.
But,
Do
okay,
the photo
thank you,
op.
let's get a photo, let's get the photo. Skyline. And then you need to go to one of the Main Street, and I think John Kuru can give you a suggestion of which Main Street to go to. Maybe College Street, right? Just right there.
So if I could ask members of the panel who are here to join us on